The year was 2457, and humanity had spread across 12 carefully cultivated worlds in the Orion Arm. Unlike many species who expanded through conquest, humans had learned painful lessons from their own history. Each colony was a masterpiece of environmental engineering, where technology and nature existed in perfect harmony. The arrival of the Meridian Empire's first contact fleet changed everything. Their massive ships appeared at the edge of the Sol system, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. The Empire had conquered 17 species across 3 galactic arms, and they saw humanity's worlds as their next prize. Admiral Caravel, the Empire's lead diplomat, stood before the United Earth Council in Geneva. Her translucent scales shifted color with each word, a natural display of dominance in her species. "Your worlds are beautiful," she said, mandibles clicking. "Submit to imperial rule, and we will preserve them. Resist, and we will take them by force." The council chamber fell silent. Then, Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's chief diplomat, stepped forward. At 73, her silver hair and warm smile projected wisdom rather than weakness. "Admiral Val, we've studied your empire's history. You believe strength comes from dominance. We once thought the same." Sarah activated a holographic display, showing Earth's scared past, nuclear wastelands, dead oceans, and collapsed civilizations. "This was our world, 500 years ago. We nearly destroyed ourselves before we understood. True strength lies in harmony, not control." Sarah's scales flashed crimson with anger. "Pretty words won't stop our warships. The Empire has never known defeat. We don't wish to defeat you," Sarah replied calmly, "but we will not submit. You have 48 hours to leave our space." The Empire's response came swiftly. Within a week, they assembled an invasion fleet of 300 ships carrying over 1 million soldiers. Their technology was impressive. Plasma weapons that could melt mountains, shields that could withstand nuclear strikes, and troops genetically engineered for combat. As the fleet approached Earth, humanity's response puzzled the invaders. There were no military formations, no weapon platforms, no signs of panic. Instead, they detected massive energy signatures emanating from seemingly innocent orbital satellites. Monitoring stations across human space recorded a simple message broadcast on all frequencies: "We welcome peaceful visitors. Those who come with violence are not welcome here." The Empire's troops laughed at what they saw as naive pacifism, but aboard the flagship, Admiral Val felt an unfamiliar sensation: doubt. In all their conquests, they had never encountered a species that seemed so unconcerned about invasion. As the fleet crossed the orbit of Mars, their sensors detected something strange. The energy readings from Earth's satellites had changed, creating complex patterns that their scientists couldn't decipher. Still, they pressed forward, confident in their superior numbers and firepower. They would soon learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't found in their arsenals, but in their understanding of the universe itself. The real test was about to begin, and it would challenge everything the Empire thought they knew about power, warfare, and the nature of civilization itself. In the council chamber, Sarah Chen watched the approaching fleet on tactical displays. Her assistant, worried, asked if they should evacuate. Sarah smiled and shook her head. "No need. They're about to learn why we spent the last century developing defensive technologies instead of weapons. Sometimes the strongest walls are the ones you can't see." Admiral Val stood frozen on her command bridge as the impossible unfolded before her. One moment, her mighty invasion fleet was advancing toward Earth. The next, every ship's faster-than-light drive simultaneously failed. More disturbing still, they weren't where they should be. "Status report," she demanded, her scales shifting to a worried blue-gray. "Admiral, we're not in the Sol system anymore," her navigation officer stammered. "These star patterns match no known location in our charts. And there's something else. We're detecting a habitable planet below us." The planet that filled their view screens was beautiful. a pristine world with vast oceans and green continents. But it wasn't Earth, nor any known human colony. As the fleet drifted in orbit, their conventional engines still functioning, a message appeared on every ship's communication system. "Welcome to Haven." The message read, "Your faster-than-light capabilities have been temporarily suspended. The planet below has been prepared for your comfort and safety. All weapons systems have been neutralized, but life support, food production, and basic technologies remain functional. You are free to land and establish temporary residence. You will be treated with respect and dignity." Val's science officer, Kex, had been analyzing the phenomenon that had transported them. "Admiral, we're trapped in some kind of dimensional pocket. The humans didn't just move us. They've placed us in a carefully constructed parallel space." The revelation sent shockwaves through the fleet. Such technology was thought impossible. It violated everything they knew about physics. Yet here they were, 1,000,000 warriors and the Empire's finest ships, caught like insects in amber. Over the next few days, as supplies began to run low, ships were forced to land on Haven. They found a world that had been meticulously engineered for their needs. The atmosphere and gravity matched their homeworld. The local plants were compatible with their biology. There were even pre-built settlement sites with basic infrastructure. Val received regular communications from Earth. Each message was the same. "When you're ready to talk peace, we're ready to listen." There was no gloating, no demands, no threats, just patient waiting. What infuriated Val most was the complete absence of visible restraints. There were no prison walls, no armed guards, no orbital weapons pointed at them. Their captivity was enforced by laws of physics they couldn't begin to understand. A month into their confinement, Val made a discovery that challenged everything she believed. While exploring the settlement area, she found a library, a vast database of human history. It contained not just their triumphs, but their failures, wars, and near-extinction events. Unlike the Empire, which erased its mistakes from official records, humans preserved their darkest moments as lessons. One entry particularly caught her attention: the last war of 2189, where humanity nearly wiped itself out with weapons that could unmake reality itself. The survivors didn't just rebuild, they fundamentally changed their society, channeling their aggressive instincts into creation rather than destruction. In her private quarters, Val recorded a message in her personal log: "Perhaps we have misunderstood what true power means. The humans could have destroyed us. Instead, they built us a sanctuary. They meet our violence with kindness, our threats with patience. Is this weakness, as I was taught, or is it a strength we never imagined possible?" As the second month of their extraordinary captivity began, Val noticed changes in her people. Without the constant drive for conquest, they began to explore other pursuits. Scientists studied Haven's unique ecosystem. Artists captured the alien but beautiful landscapes. Children, born on warships, played in real gravity and sunshine for the first time. The humans had done what no species had ever managed. They had stopped the mighty Meridian Empire without firing a shot, and in doing so, they were teaching them a lesson that would reshape both civilizations forever. 3 months into their stay on Haven, the first human delegation arrived. Their ship simply appeared in orbit one day, bypassing whatever barrier kept the Meridian fleet contained. Admiral Val watched from the settlement's central plaza as the vessel landed, its sleek design unlike anything in their fleet. Dr. Sarah Chen emerged, accompanied by a small team of scientists and cultural experts. No weapons, no guards, no show of force. Just a group of civilians walking calmly into what should have been hostile territory. "Welcome to Haven," Sarah said, echoing the message they'd received months ago. "I hope you found the accommodation suitable." Val's scales rippled with complex emotions. "You've caged us in a gilded prison, yet you walk among us unprotected. Why?" Sarah gestured to the settlement around them, where Meridian children played in gardens their parents had planted. "Does this look like a prison to you? Look at what your people have built here in just 3 months." She was right. The settlement had transformed. The sterile pre-built structures were now adorned with Meridian art. Markets had sprung up selling goods crafted from local materials. Scientists had set up research stations to study Haven's unique properties. "We call it the Sanctuary Protocol," Sarah explained as they walked. "The technology that brought you here is based on our understanding that space, time, and consciousness are deeply interconnected. We learned to create these pocket universes during our darkest days, when we needed safe places to preserve our civilization." Val's scientific curiosity overcame her military training. But how do you maintain it? The energy requirements must be astronomical. Sarah smiled. "We don't maintain it. The pocket universe is self-sustaining, powered by the same forces that drive the expansion of space itself. We simply shaped it, like gardeners tending a plot of land." The human delegation spent weeks on Haven, sharing knowledge and culture. They brought books, art, music, and most importantly, answers. Any Meridian who wished to understand the technology that held them was welcome to learn. But it was the children who broke down the final barriers. Human children from the delegation played with Meridian youngsters, their laughter transcending species barriers. They shared games, stories, and dreams of the future. In her quarters, Val found herself revisiting her empire's history through new eyes. The endless cycle of conquest and expansion seemed increasingly hollow compared to what she saw emerging on Haven. Her people were creating rather than destroying, building rather than conquering. One evening, during a cultural exchange dinner, a young Meridian scientist named Krell presented his findings on Haven's ecosystem. "The entire planet is a masterwork of bioengineering," he explained excitedly. "Every species, from the smallest bacteria to the largest trees, was designed to form a perfectly stable system. It's not just a prison or a sanctuary. It's a testament to what's possible when technology serves life instead of death." Sarah nodded. "We learned it the hard way. Our weapons could destroy planets, but what good is power if it leaves only ashes? True strength lies in creation, in nurturing, in understanding." The turning point came when Val discovered something extraordinary in the settlement's medical center. A Meridian child had been born with a genetic defect, one that their own medicine couldn't treat. The humans, without hesitation, offered their advanced medical knowledge, saving the child's life. That night, Val sent a message to the Meridian Empire's High Command. It wasn't a military report or a request for rescue. Instead, she shared stories and images of what their people had accomplished on Haven. She wrote of children playing beneath alien stars, of scientists unlocking new mysteries, of artists capturing unprecedented beauty. "We came here as conquerors," she wrote, "but we're becoming something else. Something, perhaps, better." The humans watched this transformation with patient satisfaction. They had gambled that given time, space, and safety, their would-be conquerors would discover what humanity had learned through centuries of harsh lessons, that the greatest power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to create. 6 months after the failed invasion, the Meridian Empire's High Command finally responded to Val's messages. Their transmission arrived during a joint human-Meridian festival, celebrating the first successful harvest of adapted Meridian crops on Haven. The High Command's message was brief but unprecedented. They requested direct negotiations with Earth's leadership, not for surrender terms, but for mutual understanding. More surprisingly, they asked that Admiral Val serve as their chief diplomat. In the council chamber back on Earth, Sarah Chen presented the request to human leadership. "They're ready," she said simply. "The question is, are we?" The decision was made to hold the negotiations on Haven itself, now seen as neutral ground between the two civilizations. As preparations began, Val found herself in a peculiar position, teaching Meridian diplomatic protocols to the same humans who had so thoroughly outmaneuvered her military strategy. "Our High Command will expect displays of strength," she explained to Sarah during a planning session. "They won't understand this gentleness of yours." Sarah's eyes twinkled. Then perhaps we should show them real strength. The day before the High Command's arrival, humans deactivated the barrier containing Haven. Every Meridian ship regained its faster-than-light capabilities. They were free to leave, to fight, to do whatever they wished. Not a single ship departed. When the High Command's delegation arrived, they found something unthinkable. Their military fleet had been transformed into a thriving colony. Warships served as orbital research stations. Combat units had become construction crews and farming collectives. Their finest warriors were teaching their children art and science instead of battle tactics. The High Command's chief administrator, a decorated veteran of countless conquests, stood in the central plaza, his scales shifting through patterns of confusion and awe. Before him, human and Meridian children performed a joint musical concert, playing instruments that blended the traditions of both species. "What sorcery is this?" he demanded of Val. "How have they corrupted our people?" "Not corruption," Val replied. "Evolution. Look around you. Everything here was built by choice, not force. The humans never once told us what to do. They simply showed us what was possible." The negotiations that followed were unlike any in either species' history. Instead of discussing terms of surrender or division of territories, they talked about cultural exchange programs, joint scientific ventures, and cooperative space exploration. The humans shared more of their history, including the devastating wars that had led them to develop the Sanctuary Protocol. "We built it to save ourselves from ourselves," Sarah explained. "The ability to create safe spaces where conflict is impossible gave us time to learn, to grow, to become better than we were." The High Command learned that humanity had similar technology across all their worlds, not as weapons, but as safeguards. Any aggressive force entering human space could be gently redirected to sanctuary zones where they would have time to reconsider their choices. "But why show us such kindness?" the chief administrator asked. "We came to conquer you." Sarah's response was simple: "Because that's what we needed when we were like you, someone to show us a better way. We had to learn it through centuries of warfare and near extinction. We hope to spare you that pain." As the negotiations progressed, it became clear that both civilizations stood on the brink of profound change. The Meridian Empire, built on conquest, was discovering the power of creation and cooperation. Humanity, often seen as naive by other species for their peaceful ways, was revealing the wisdom behind their choices. The humans offered to help create more sanctuary worlds, not as prisons, but as places of learning and growth. The Meridians, with their vast experience in space travel and colonization, could help identify suitable locations and assist in their development. In her private quarters, Val added a final entry to the log she'd been keeping since their arrival on Haven. "We came here expecting to teach humanity the meaning of power. Instead, they taught us the power of meaning. Perhaps that was the true conquest all along." 5 years after the failed invasion, Haven had become something unprecedented in galactic history. A thriving world jointly governed by humans and Meridians. The former invasion fleet ships now served as the backbone of a joint exploration initiative, their weapons replaced with scientific equipment. The day of the 5th anniversary celebration, Admiral Val, now Ambassador Val, stood beside Sarah Chen on Haven's newly completed observatory tower. Below them, the settlement had grown into a magnificent city where crystalline Meridian architecture blended seamlessly with human ecological design. "The latest reports from the Empire are encouraging," Val said, her scales shimmering with pride. 3 more battle fleets have been converted into research expeditions. The War College is now the Academy of Cultural Understanding. Sarah nodded, watching a group of young Meridians and humans working together in one of the city's vertical gardens. "And how are the other species responding?" "They think we've gone mad," Val laughed, a sound that would have been unthinkable from a Meridian military officer years ago. "The Crix Confederation is particularly confused. They keep waiting for the real Meridian Empire to return." The transformation of the Meridian Empire had sent shockwaves through galactic society. Their former tributaries and enemies watched in bewilderment as the galaxy's most militant civilization voluntarily dismantled its war machine, replacing it with networks of cultural exchange and scientific cooperation. The human sanctuary protocol had evolved as well. What began as a defensive measure became a tool for transformation. Zones of enforced peace were established at the request of species locked in ancient conflicts, giving them space to rediscover who they were without the burden of endless war. In Haven's primary school, a new generation was growing up without the shadows of conquest or fear. Meridian children learned Earth's ancient arts of peace, while human children studied the complex honor codes of Meridian society. They created something entirely new together, a culture that took the best of both worlds. The breakthrough that caught the galaxy's attention came from a joint human-Meridian research team. They discovered that the same principles underlying the Sanctuary Protocol could be used to restore ecosystems damaged by centuries of warfare. Dead worlds could be enveloped in pocket universes where time moved differently, allowing millennia of healing to occur in just a few years. Did you know this would happen? Val asked Sarah as they watched the double sunset. When you created Haven, did you foresee all of this? Sarah smiled. We hoped. Hope is a very human thing, you know. We've learned that if you give people a chance to be their best selves, they often surprise you. The Meridian Empire's official historical records were revised, but not in the way they once would have been. Instead of erasing their past, they added to it. The entry for the Great Haven Incident read, "The day we went to war and found peace instead. The day our conquerors became our teachers by refusing to conquer. The day we learned that the strongest force in the universe isn't the power to destroy, but the courage to change." As night fell over Haven, the city's lights created patterns that could be seen from orbit, a perfect blend of human and Meridian designs. In homes across the settlement, families gathered to celebrate the anniversary not of a failed invasion, but of a new beginning. In the observatory tower's archive, a simple plaque bore words in both human and Meridian script. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of better alternatives. Haven stands as proof that the greatest victories come not from defeating an enemy, but from transforming them into friends. The story of how humans stopped an alien invasion without firing a shot became legend in galactic society. But perhaps more importantly, it became a blueprint. Other civilizations began to wonder if perhaps the humans had been right all along. That true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to create, the courage to change, and the strength to show kindness even in the face of hostility. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, other sanctuary worlds were taking shape, ready to welcome those who needed to learn the same lesson the Meridians had learned. Sometimes, the greatest conquest of all is conquering one's own capacity for violence.